Well, good morning. Today I'm going to make some salsa for you. Starting off by peeling the tomatoes. These here I boiled, and you can see that the skins are all splitting. Last time I showed you how to trim the stems out first. This time I dropped them in without peeling that out, and I'll show you how to do that afterwards, pulling that out. But I'll grab like 3 tomatoes, drop it in boiling water, and then I'll just use something to keep them rolled so that they stay in my pan. If it was a little bigger, it'd be easier, but it's not. When they bust, like this one here is cracked, the skins did. That is your sign that it's ready. See how that skin's just sliding right off? And then, since one is ready, the other should be, but sometimes the skin don't necessarily wait. Maybe just leave them in a little while longer and then pull them out. And then do that again. I should have grabbed a spoon that has the serrated bottom, but because these are non-stick, I don't want anything that's metal, and the one that I happen to have is handy as metal. So it makes it easier. Oh my, they're already splitting. See how that there's just peeling away? So that is ready. That one there literally is popping off. The riper they are, the quicker they split, and you wanna make sure that you're doing ripe tomatoes. I only have 2 left here, and as you can see, I didn't trim anything off. If you've got bad spots, trim that off. But there we go. These I got to roll, I kind of touching bottom. Wow, that black tomato, this one's not the true black tomato. That one, the skin's peeling off all by itself real quick. This is maybe not quite as ripe. You would think that one's not ripe. It don't look as ripe, but so this one I just left a little while longer, and then turn the burner off and set that in here to cool. Okay, now I gotta grab the coolest ones, and I'll show you how we peel them. And I can move this over here. Okay, I need my knife, and to peel them, maybe I better grab my bucket, my icky bucket. My pail to put my ends in. Okay, see how that just peels right off? I use my fingernail on like the very bottom thing. Sometimes will stick there, and you can either use a knife to take that on off, or my fingernail on that little spot works. But so you peel it all off right to the stem end, and then you just trim around it just like so, and it's all in the thing. And then salsa, I'm going to just I'll cook it down. So if I just move this over so you can see, big one I do a little bit more than quartering, but you don't have to cut it real small, because obviously in the pan when it's cooking, it pretty much disintegrates. So I'm gonna finish up the rest of these here, put it in here. Might go out and get more depending on how much I think I have. I think I want, one of my recipes calls for a gallon. One of them calls for 10 tomatoes. Well, what is 10 tomatoes? 10 little ones? 10 big ones? So I prefer the ones that give you measurements either by weight, although right now I don't have a scale. I usually have a nice scale that'll measure a couple of pounds. Because one of the recipes calls for 4 pounds. Which, if you think about that in the aspect of 8 ounces to a cup, you can do, because that's a liquid measurement, and that's what this would be. It's not dry like flour or something. So you can do the math and to convert it to cups instead of the pounds. So it, it's how you like it anyway. So as far as the only reason why you need to know any amount of how much to use is to kind of give you a base, because how much onion you put in, how much cilantro, all the recipes vary. So it's how you personally like it. That's the advantage of doing your own canning. You get to make it the way you like it. And that's always a plus. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and uh, get the rest of these peeled and in my pot and measured. I'll tell you how much I have. I might do all the tomatoes I have, and whatever it is, and do the whole pot, because I think I brought in maybe, this might be about half of what I have, maybe not quite. And if I just do it all in one, it's sometimes nicer to just get it done. So I'll be back in a little while. I am again. I got one tomato left to do, and if you want, I showed you how to do it, cutting the stem out afterwards. The stem is still in this one, and if you want to, instead of peeling this part first, you can go ahead and trim the stem out. Sometimes it makes it a little easier. It depends on your tomato. So drop that in the garbage, and then you can start at this point and you can peel it back. This is a black tomato, and sometimes they're right at the top. They look almost green yet, but it was soft. If I would have waited, it would have rotted. So I went ahead and cooked it. And it's ripe. It's just that this very top part doesn't peel as easy. I mean, it was split. So another part that don't always peel easy is the bottom here. And this is tucked in like deep. You can see that there's, and that sometimes is a joke to get out. Now some people, my mom used to, she don't anymore. She used to just not peel any of them. She just cut this part off, the scab part, cut the cores out, and blended it. But the problem with that is you have, the skins has lectin in it, and that's what causes the inflammation. Anybody with arthritis or anything like that shouldn't do the skins. The seeds is not good either, but obviously I'm not going to de-seed this tomato. And I love salsa, so if this is, I usually can just peel this here off with my fingers, no problem, but it doesn't peel near as easy. As you can tell, it's, just not peeling as easy. You can just take your knife and trim it off. Because, like I say, you want to get rid of all the skin. Get rid of as much of the inflammatory as you can. I've never de-seeded a tomato. Don't plan on starting. So, just like that, and this, like I say, was a black tomato. I had one, this isn't a black beauty tomato, this is a black tomato, and it's like, turns kind of purplish on the bottom, and stays kind of green on top when it's ready. I have a black beauty that is supposed to be a sauce tomato, and I've got one or two of them in here. They're jet black on top. And the only way to tell if they're ripe in the garden is look on the bottom, because they turn red on the bottom. Well, kind of a purple red. And when they are purple red on the bottom, that means they're ready to pick. And they keep pretty long in the house. That's the reason why most of them is still out in the garage, because I'm trying to get I try to do the ripest ones first, the ones that's starting to turn a little soft. I probably got a gallon in here, so I probably could go ahead and make this salsa. It's about this full, and I would say it's no marks on my container. Some of my pans have marks on them. It tells me it's a gallon. It's close enough. So the next step is I'll get onions ready and the cilantro ready and the jalapenos ready and put a little salt in it and a little, I use lime juice. You can either use lime juice, lemon juice, or vinegar. Vinegar you got to use a lot more, like a cup. So I just like to use a little bit of lime or lemon juice. So I will be back when I got this cleaned up and got my onions in here ready to add and my jalapenos, and so I'll catch you in a little bit. Well, I am back and we're going to add some ingredients, and my recipes I put on documents, or not documents, actually I put them on pages on my iPad, and then all I have to do is search salsa and my salsa recipes come up. And and what I used last year was canned Mexican salsa. I have another one too, and I would just use it to compare for amounts, because this says 50 fresh tomatoes. 50 Romas or 50 tomatoes. Well, I've got about, big tomatoes, I got about 25 or so, I think I did. But I'm sure that this looks to be about the same amount. The amount that I did last year did about 3 quart jars approximately. So, and I think that's where I'm going to be at today. So a little bit more. I have more here. But I'm going to go ahead and add the spices that it calls for. It says chopped onions and chopped jalapenos. So here's jalapenos. I have 2, I believe they're chili peppers in here also. But the rest are all jalapenos. And I'm not going to worry about the seeds that's in the bottom. It says to put it in with the seeds, few seeds. I throw a few of them away. I don't want it too hot. This might be really hot, but I have more tomatoes out there that after I get it cooked down a little bit, I can taste it. And if it's too hot, I can add more tomatoes and thin it out a little. So it calls for a cilantro, and I have cilantro here, and onions. So it calls for 3 large onions, 4 if they're small. So I have 3 large onions here. And it calls for a bunch of, 1 bunch of cilantro, small bunch. I got a little bit more than that, but I think I have almost a double of what I'm supposed to have. So I don't know. It's, like I say, 50 tomatoes, what size. So there's that. And then it did call for black pepper, but since I put the chili peppers in, I didn't add any black pepper. It calls for garlic, and garlic powder, it says 3 tablespoons. Well, my mom dried, I don't know how she dried them, but she dried some garlic. And I'm just going to put the whole cloves of dried garlic in, and I'm going to just put in this much. I love garlic. I don't think you can overdo garlic, so we're just going to dump that in. And then either lime juice or lemon juice. You need that of a half of a lime or a lemon. Juice, I just squirted a bunch in. Since it's a pretty big batch, I think I got about 2 tablespoons in there. And that should be oodles. I believe mine, they're heirloom tomatoes, so they should have the acid of years ago. But just to be safe, on the safe side, I add some lime juice, lemon juice, or you can add vinegar. Vinegar, it takes more of it, and I don't want to add that much more to have to cook down. So we are going to start this pot, And when it gets to boil, it gets to a low rolling boil, then we'll simmer it. So I'll turn it down to medium, and then we'll just simmer it for a few hours, and then I'll taste it. And if I need to add more tomatoes, I can add more tomatoes at that time and then cook it down some more. So I will be back when I'm tasting it to see if it's way too hot or if it's just the way I like it. I like it really hot because what I use it in is I like to use it in soups. Because that's why I go through as much as I do. So I use, when I make my soups, it's more of a Mexican chili, but it's called chili. And I do creamy chilies. I add cream cheese to it, which takes heat down. So you need to have more heat. But by the time you add the other stuff to it, then it gets it just right. So if it's a little bit on the hot side to just eat with a chip, it's still okay. But if it's way too hot, I'll add some more tomatoes. It's just kind of, you play it by ear and get it just the way you want it. And then you can it down. So I will be back when we're ready to do that. Well, here I am back, and I took a little dab and put it in a little thing so that I could taste it and not burn myself, because it's simmering. It's not too hot, but it's missing something. It's missing salt. I forgot to put salt in it. That's why you taste it before you can it. Because, yeah, I forgot the salt. So I did look at the directions. Here's my salt. 3 tablespoons of salt it calls for. So here goes. Now it'll taste better, I am sure. Stir it up good, then I'll taste it again. I'm surprised that it's not hotter than it is. I thought it'd be too hot for me, but it's not. Because I put a lot of jalapenos in it and blow it on it. It's hot. See, it's steaming up my glasses even. That definitely tastes better. Has to have salt. I always taste my cooking because occasionally I do that. I'll forget an ingredient, but today it was salt. It's probably the one that I forget the most. I don't know how my mom does it with her low sodium diets, because it tastes a whole lot different with salt in it. Maybe the no salt would make it taste just as good. I don't eat her soups that I make for her. I don't eat her bread that I make for her. That's for her. And this is really good, and it's not too hot. It's about perfect. Out of all the jalapenos I picked, I did not put 3 of them in. I'm saving them to do. I'm going to do more rotel because I really need more rotel. But I need to get more of that size jars. I can't find any in my pantry. So, maybe tomorrow I'll pick up some of the small jelly jar. Well, not the small jelly jars. The ones that measures about a cup, because that's what I want to do my rotel in. This is getting just about cooked down enough. I'm not quite. But I picked broccoli. And right now I got it soaking in salt water so that I kill any bugs that happen to be in it. And cabbage worms does get into your broccoli occasionally. This summer I put marigolds between every plants, or between every hill. I put like 2 plants in each hill. And I used the large marigolds, the one with the big blooms. And I see maybe one of them white moths or butterflies or whatever that gives you them worms. And maybe in all that I froze down, and I must have froze down 20 packages this year. And I only picked half a patch this time. And this pan here that I have, it goes clear down to here. It's a nice big pan. I can put 3-quart jars, maybe even 4 or 5 in it in a boiling water bath in it, and it's full. And I only picked half the patch. So, but I have to get that processed before I can finish processing this, because that's my boiling water bath pan. So this can just simmer here for a while, and it'll just get thicker. But yeah, the taste is perfect. So I'll just keep simmering it down, and I'm hoping to have like 3-quart jars at least with it, maybe 4. That would be perfect. Whatever fits in my thing would be ideal. But I don't know how much that is until I think 4 will fit in that one. The one that I used last year, only 3 will fit, but it's in the store, so, and I think Monica's borrowing it. And I don't have my big canner. I loaned that out also, so I do that all the time, loan stuff out, and then I don't have it anymore, because I forget who I loan it to, or they don't return it. So I should say I just give it away and go buy another one. So that's just what I do. Anyway, I will be back in a little while. Well, I've moved stuff around, and I'm all set up to start putting it in jars and canning it. And I'm gonna, this is my boiling water bath, and I'm gonna take a little bit of water out of it, because I want really hot water to put my jar lids in. And my breakers blow in this small kitchen if I try to have another pan on cooking. So I just do it this way. Then they'll heat up. And then I've got one thing I gotta do. Gotta put my thing in for my jars, because you can't set the jars on the bottom. They'll break for sure. So I have my take this out of here. That's my recipe for my bread when I make my bread. And okay, that on the next jar. We'll see if I guessed right on the number. This will hold about 5 of these jars. So and these ain't full quarts. These are about 3 cups. They're a little bit smaller than a quart. Should be perfect for a salsa. Okay, we're gonna set one in. And I'm gonna have to set them across from each other because my thing kind of tips in there. I usually try to fill it up to the bottom one of these here ring things. So that's just about perfect. Because you want to get it up within like a ½ an inch of the top. This might be an inch down, but it's pretty good. Ring, and like I say, don't tighten them too tight, because what happens then is your jars might break, and we don't want the jars to break. Putting cool jars in boiling hot water can also make them break. That's the reason why I have this simmering and this boiling. Then that's the same temperature, and then you don't have troubles with them breaking. So that one I got a teeny bit full, so I'm going to take my big spoon, take a little bit out, because that's a little too much. You need a ½ an inch or so. I do that occasionally, just need a different spoon. Something I can get something out of. There, that's more. like it. Make sure the rim is wiped off. And my finger was pretty good for that. Some people use a cloth dipped in vinegar, and that works too. My mom's always done it this way, and so this is the way I've always done it. So then snug her down, but don't tighten it too tight. It's gonna fill all these jars, I'm pretty sure. With a little left over to spare, I think. That one I got a little bit short, but it's close enough. Okay, the next jar I'm gonna move them around a little bit to get the next jar in. Okay, here we go for the last jar. Yep, there's probably about a cup left, not much. Tip it off. Lid, it's in boiling hot water. And bring. Whoops. I'm not going to drop it in, so I better use this. Yep, it comes up over top of you want the water to come up over top of the lids, but barely. It don't have to be over them a lot. And then we'll put the lid on it. And when it gets to boiling, I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I turned it up to 230, but when it starts boiling, I'll turn it back down to 220. And then I'll time it afterward, after it's boiling, then I'll time it for 15 to 20 minutes. And then I'll take them out. So I will be back when I take them out, and hopefully they all do good, and I'll probably put this that's left in a pint jar, because that looks like about what I got is about a pint. So, and then we'll probably go ahead and eat that. I will do that. Well, my pot just beeped and shut off, and it was a little longer than 15 minutes, probably closer to the 20, because I didn't catch it when it first started boiling. And then for some reason, this induction burner here isn't working real good, so I couldn't set it, but there's only 18 minutes left on it, so that's close enough. And I did put that, I had 1 pint left, and it was full, so I did put it in too. So I got a bonus. I got 5 quarts. It's not really quite a quart. They're small quarts, so they're probably 3 cups instead of 4. And then the 1 pint, which would be 2 cups. And there they are. Now just let them chill, and I'll listen, and I'll hear bing, 1 sealed, and then I'll hear it again, and I'll know another one's sealed. So it's music to my ears when I hear them pop. So thanks for watching. This is my salsa video, and like it and share it and subscribe. And I have a lot more videos. You can watch all of them and like them and share them with people that you think might be able to use them. And thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.